What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Back with my original segment, Boxingego's First Look, tale of the tape between Terence Bud Crawford and the Gladiator himself, John Molina Jr., where I give you guys a sneak peek, a preview of the fight before the fight, get into some vitals, more fact, less opinion. Let's get into it. Now, Terence Crawford, he's been on a tear, he's still undefeated, and he's fighting John Molina. Now, some people have some issue with this fight, and I want to clear that up. Some people are comparing it to Danny Garcia, saying, hey, John Molina was a cherry pick for Danny Garcia. Why is he not for Terence Crawford? Now, first of all, we're talking about apples and oranges. Terence Crawford, this is his third time fighting this year. He fought Hank Lundy. Then he fought the number 2 guy in the division, who was a champion, taller than him, had a high connect percentage and a higher percentage of jab. He had the highest jab in the division, and that was Victor the Iceman Postal, and he beat him. I covered that fight live. Now he's fighting John Molina Jr., right? He wasn't supposed to fight. Initially, that date was going to Canelo. He got injured versus Liam Smith. Then they tried to make Triple G versus Danny Jacobs. They couldn't negotiate within that parameter to make that type of fight. So the date was freed up. HBO had the budget. Bob Arum made an executive decision, and now Terence Crawford is fighting. Completely different than Danny Garcia, who I like. I like Danny Garcia, but fact is he hasn't fought. His last fight wasn't a Victor Postal at welterweight. He fought Robert Guerrero after Keith Thurman beat him, after he got knocked down by Aaron Martinez, a guy with 4 knockouts or whatnot, and then he was going to fight John Molina. So it's completely different scenarios, and his last fight he fought Samuel Vargas, you know what I mean? So completely different. Just had to clear the air with that. Terence Crawford, great fighter, very stealthy, very tricky. He is not just a slick fighter. He sometimes he shows he has dog in him, and he'll mix it up. Sometimes he'll fight a riskier fight than he probably needs to. His Thierry Jean and Hank Lundy fight, he was getting hit a little bit more, which concerned some people, but he wanted to put a hurting on those guys, so he was more aggressive. And you get more aggressive, sometimes you open yourself up. So it'll be interesting to see how he respects John Molina's power, and if he does, and what kind of fight he fights against John Molina. So far, I haven't heard too much trash talking. They did have a press conference. This fight is taking place at the CenturyLink Theater in Omaha, where Terence Crawford is from. So Terence Crawford will definitely be the favorite. But the thing I like about John Molina is you could go off his record, but he's laced him up. He's not afraid to fight anybody, and I think his record proves that. He fought Mickey Bay, who was undefeated. He fought Adrian Broner, right? He fought Lucas Matisse. He's been in there with Hank Lundy. I mean, the guy, Ruslan Provodnikov, he's coming off one of his best wins in recent memory, Humberto Soto. He's been in there with Antonio DeMarco when he was a champion. So win, lose, or draw, he's willing to step foot in the ring with virtually anybody, and you got to respect that. And Terence Crawford is going to have to respect his punching power. There's a lot of pictures I've seen. John Molina's my dude, and Molina's big. He's big for 140. He's a lot bigger than people thought, and he's a guy you can't count out, because even if he's getting outboxed, just having that power, he's going to be a threat, you know what I mean? And we'll talk about some of the statistics, but you look at his fight with Mickey Bay, he was able to turn it around in the last round, if I'm not mistaken, the 12th round. And then you look at fights like Ruslan Provodnikov, people said he was going to get killed by Provodnikov. That was supposed to be Provodnikov's coming out party. He was new to Showtime, and he was supposed to be a fight. And they were actually talking about Ruslan Provodnikov possibly facing Adrian Broner since he had moved to Showtime. John Molina Jr. put a halt to that. So you got to at least respect him. And again, more people in boxing would probably have blemishes on their records too if they fought the caliber of competition John Molina has done. Now, I'm not saying John Molina will be the favorite in this particular fight, but you got to respect, as a fan, his willingness. The guys like Gabe Rosado, John Molina Jr., you can look at their resume and say, oh, it's not pretty, they have losses, but at the same time, look who they're fighting. They're fighting people that other people have avoided or didn't really want to fight or price themselves out. John Molina Jr. is willing to fight anybody, so you got to respect that. And Terence Crawford, he only has maybe 3 or 4 fights at 140, so John Molina Jr. being the taller, bigger man, it'll be interesting. He definitely doesn't have the advantage in skill or technique, but maybe he can catch Terence Crawford with something and make it interesting and play spoiler. Sometimes people have issue fighting at home. Look at Sergey Kovalev against Chilemba. Chilemba just got stopped. I was covering that fight, Kovalev Ward, but he got stopped on the undercard, right? But when Kovalev fought Chilemba, he didn't look as good. But Kovalev versus Andre Ward, he looked good. You know what I'm saying? And that Kovalev would have probably done better against Chilemba, because I don't think Chilemba is in the same league as Andre. So weird things happen. It's boxing. Weird things happen in the sport of boxing, especially when you're at home, and you know what I mean? A lot of fights, if you think about it, a lot of fights that the fans don't expect much from turn out to be something. And then you got mega fights like Mayweather and Pacquiao, and everyone expected all of this, and it didn't deliver to some people. I didn't mind it, but it didn't deliver to other people. I mean, example of that with John Molina would be Lucas Matisse. Straight up, I thought Lucas Matisse was going to beat him in a one-sided fashion. But John Molina Jr., that was another reason is his first fight at 140. John Molina Jr., his first fight at 140, I was like, damn, even though Matisse is coming off the Danny Garcia loss, that's an uphill battle for John Molina Jr., but he made it very scrappy, very competitive, and it turned out to be a Fight of the Year candidate for that particular year. So, again, we'll see what John Molina can do. Terence Crawford will be the favorite, but I like this. I like this for another reason, too. Bob Arum working with Al Haymon, PBC and Top Rank, so this could usher in some great fights between the two promotional companies in 2017. Now let's take a look at the tale of the tape. Terence Bud Crawford, undefeated, 29-0. John Molina Jr., veteran with some losses. His record is 29-6, and I believe 2 of those are stoppages. Age kind of close. Terence Crawford is 29 years of old. Terence Crawford is 29 years of age, and John Molina Jr. is 33. This is an interesting statistic, the height. John Molina is taller. He's the taller man at 5'10.5" inches to Terence Crawford's 5'8". And this will be the second consecutive fight where Terence Crawford, who is pretty tall and lanky for his division, is the shorter man. The Victor Postal fight, Postal was taller. Now John Molina Jr. is taller. This has taken place at junior welterweight, 140 pounds. Crawford has the Ring Magazine belt. He has almost all the belts there. And the reach advantage very comparable. Crawford has 1 inch shorter arms, 70-inch reach, to John Molina Jr. 71-inch reach. So it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a fun fight, a scrappy fight. Terence Crawford, he's one of those skillful guys, but at the same time, sometimes he fights in a manner to get you out of there and make a statement. So dealing with a puncher like that, we don't know. It could be fireworks, especially in front of your hometown. We'll see what happens and what this fight delivers. Top Rank working with PBC. You guys let me know your fight predictions. Will this be easy work for Terence Crawford, or is John Molina have a shot being the bigger man and possibly the bigger puncher at 140 pounds? You let me know that in the comment section. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hey, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.